Don't miss CPAC 2019 on Fox Nation. Stream the biggest speeches, see your favorite Fox Nation personalities deliver their must-see addresses, and watch a reality check CPAC special with David Webb. Today on Fox Nation. Start your free trial now.
It was freedom, not socialism, that ended slavery, won 2 world wars, and stands today as the beacon of hope for all the world. America will never be a socialist country.
We must convict socialism. Do not let this fester.
The House Democrats now in charge trying to go after. Collusion didn't work, so now they're going to go after President Trump's finances.
They're going to investigate everything.
If they don't find any evidence of collusion, which there's none, and after 2 years, if you can't find it, it ain't there.
You cannot go too far on the issue of climate change. The future of the planet is at stake.
At a cost of $93 trillion. That's more than 4 times our national debt.
Battle for border security reaching a fever pitch.
This year, we are looking at a 97% increase over last year.
We're hearing about a lot of Democratic candidates who are meeting with Hillary Clinton for advice.
I suspect not. You know, she has not called me.
Say cheese. People are throwing single cheese slices at their babies in a new challenge that's trending on social media.
Welcome. If the good times were rolling last night, you might still be in bed. And that's okay. We hope you're pouring a cup of coffee or someone else is pouring it for you and bringing it into bed for you.
You're just rolling out of bed right now.
Yep, rolling out of bed.
Just getting going.
9 o'clock on the East
We've
Coast.
been going for a while. Yeah, here with Griff.
That's right. Good times are rolling in the Democrat Party. A lot of people running for president.
Are they?
Rico Kasich of the car is apparently not in yet that I'm aware of.
He might join.
However, we do have some new additions. A relatively unknown governor from the state of Washington, Jay Inslee, is the latest.
So how many are there now, Griff?
There are quite a few. So many I can hardly count. You've got Governor Inslee, Bernie Sanders, Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, Amy Klobuchar, Andrew Yang, not well known, Elizabeth Warren, John Delaney, Tulsi Gabbard, Julian Castro, and we also are hearing that it is likely former Colorado Governor John Hickenlooper will be jumping in soon.
I know you can count to 10. That's the current list that we have right now. But your point is it could grow, and it will grow. We've heard about prospective names, some big names potentially on the sideline, including former Vice President Joe Biden. The Wall Street Journal headline that we're reporting this morning says Biden leans toward another run while the heart of his party has shifted. To that point, he's no moderate Joe Biden, but he's a sort of a more of a old school liberal, not the leftist socialist you're seeing today. And you mentioned Jay Inslee. He's the latest entrance. He's a Washington governor. He's running almost exclusively on climate change. Armageddon is coming. It's the AOC World War II.
The world's going to end in 12 years.
The world's going to end, so the government needs to take over your life and our economy. Well, by the way, China and Russia and India and the Middle East do nothing about so-called emissions and all of that. We need to rapidly overhaul our entire country in order to save our country in what's analogous to a war effort.
And interestingly, Bernie Sanders, you mentioned he's running, he actually says that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's Green New Deal doesn't go far enough. He says you can't go far enough. Here he is on The View. Take a listen. Yeah.
Does the Green New Deal go too far?
No. You cannot go too far on the issue of climate change. The future of the planet is at stake. Okay? We have, according to the best scientists in the world,
drug lord, but
we have 12 years to begin substantially cutting carbon emissions before there will be irreparable damage to the planet.
And you will see Senator Sanders giving a similar speech today in Brooklyn.
Where you're going to be.
Well, we're going to go and bring it to you tomorrow.
We'll bring it to you tomorrow morning. I'm trying to think of things I would say you can't go too far when fighting X. I'm thinking ISIS. Like, in my mind, I would probably say a sentence that you can't go too far when fighting and crushing ISIS. The new religion, the new enemy for the left is the weather. It is climate change. It is doing whatever they can to make government control and stop that. You saw the lunacy of the Green New Deal. They're all signing on. They're going to try to make this election about it. Meanwhile, Griff, you've been on the border. Our economy is booming. We've got real issues that are being addressed. They need to be addressed. They're not even having that conversation.
Well, it's interesting. So, when President Trump pulled out of the Paris Climate Accords, that became a talking point. And so these Democrats know they've got to run on something substantive, and the Green New Deal is one way to to say, well, we're going to do it different and better. Another issue, which has been talked about in this shift to the left, the socialist shift that Sanders started in the last election, is Medicare for all. You hear so much of it. This is a Wall Street Journal headline that we're putting up for you now. Medicare for all loses momentum among Democrats. This, obviously, some polling that will be debated back and forth. We'll see where it goes. But the thread to connect here is that whether you're talking about Medicare for all, whether you're talking about the Green New Deal, ultimately, someone's got to pay for that stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And, you know, Americans are still Americans. You know, saw Chris Christie on a little earlier. He says Americans still love capitalism. Americans still love choice. I mean, when Medicare for all sounds good, when you unpack it, it just means you get less choice. And the Americans just don't like that. And by the way, back just a little bit to Bernie on that. Good luck winning back Wisconsin, telling them you want to eliminate cows on the Green New Deal. So I think there's a lot there. They're shifting to the left. And I think the American people, even some Democrats, according to this poll, are going, whoa, 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 be careful.
Well, not only are the American people saying, whoa, 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 be careful, Joe Biden, imagine when he's asked these questions. No, he's the one who said to Barack Obama, this is a big effing deal. That was just Obamacare, which is an incremental step to Medicare for all. Will he be for that? Is he going to be for reparations? Is he going to be for the Green New Deal? Is he going to be for tearing down the wall? Because all the candidates he's against are to the left of him on that. The crowd and the mob of the progressives, the media is with them on that. How you play a middle game, which is not even middle anymore? It's right. Left. That's why a guy like Joe Biden's sitting back going, do I really want to endure this right now? He's out of step with where his base is right now. Kind of like where Hillary Clinton was in 2016. Bernie Sanders was the real energy. If he's thinking about it and his advisors are thinking about it, and then you have to run against Trump, who's talking about the real issues that matter in Wisconsin, to your point, where it really hits people's pocketbook and their culture and their country and their faith. Good luck, big fella.
Well, talk about pocketbook. In my hometown of Washington, D.C., the paper of record there, the Washington Post, issuing a correction, posted an editor's note last night around 6 p.m., perhaps thinking no one would see it, but it certainly is significant because the Covington Catholic issue, we saw some kids came for the march in Washington, and everybody's seen that video. Here's what the Washington Post put in their editor's note. A Washington Post article first posted online on January 19th reported on a January 18th incident at the Lincoln Memorial. Subsequent reporting, a student's statement and additional video allow for a more complete assessment of what occurred, either contradicting or failing to confirm accounts provided in that story. Of course, the Washington Post was being sued for $250 million by that young man there, Nicholas Sandmann. His attorney responding to the Late Night Post saying, too little, too late.
And also, what a lot of gobbledygook that language was. Why not say, we made a mistake, we were wrong, we, named this kid and smeared him, and we're sorry, and put that on the front page instead of like on page whatever it was at 6 p.m. at night. I mean, this boy's life was forever altered, and they were part of that.
Are you going to fire a reporter? Someone wrote this. Someone didn't do their due diligence, splashed a headline up because it fit a narrative, and then 40 days later, not 4 days later, 40 days later, after they're facing a $250 million lawsuit, they come up with this weasel little explanation on Friday night, which you know and everyone knows, where you try to bury news when you don't want to admit it. No one's going to read it or see it unless they watch our program. And then you got Nicholas Sandmann, whose life has been put through the ringer, simply wanting the truth to be told. The truth is evident. It's all on videotape. This is why the credibility of the military, not the military, the media is zilch. Almost zilch amongst people who love our country, because they're running a narrative and not facts, Griff. And I know that hurts your heart because you're a guy who chases facts.
You know, facts matter. And what will happen now is this story will be played out in the court, so we're likely not going to get more information when it relates to whether or not the Washington Post is doing a full mea culpa with an apology, as you mentioned, as well as correcting it. That's an editor's note. But I digress. Across the country, there's another bit of news that is worth getting in there, and that is an arrest in the confrontation with that UC Berkeley student, right? This is a conservative student getting punched in the face. First, watch.
Jesus Christ. What?
Well, we now know that the 28-year-old you see there, Zachary Grunberg, has been arrested in that case.
Thank God.
Here's a mugshot. You didn't see him. Let's put it up. One of his proudest moments. What a tough guy. Big, tough guy. Walks up to a conservative activist, getting people to sign on with the group Turning Point USA, and just cold cocks him, punches him in the face out of nowhere. The other kid's not trying to be aggressive at all. What is the media going to cover this? Are they going to talk about the rise of hate against conservatives?
You probably
on
only see this on Fox. I'm going to tell you what, both of these, the Covington and this story, there is a concerted effort on the part of the left to silence young conservatives in particular. They're absolutely going after them. And I think what was heartening to me in the end with Covington is that I saw conservatives really come together. They got that footage, they got it out there, and they demanded that these statements be retracted. Now, we didn't get the retraction we wanted, say, out of the Washington Post, but conservatives did not leave the Covington boys or this young man with Turning Point as collateral damage in this resistance or this identity politics war that they're playing. They're trying to make people afraid about wearing that hat. I will tell you, after Covington, every American conservative mom will think twice about letting her kid go on a school trip with a Make America Great hat. This is absolutely concerted. It's meant to silence conservative young people, and we can't let it stand.
That's exactly. We can't let it stand. The lesson of that is you can't back down.
No.
Like, most people don't get punched. He did, unfortunately. But most of you will get screamed at, spat at, or called you'll be called a racist when you're not, a sexist when you're not, a homophobe when you're not, a misogynist when you're not, whatever. Just skip. This is a time for courage, for people who believe in things. Stand up for what you believe in.
And we're going to have that
Glad
young
this guy
man.
will get justice.
We're going to have this young man on tomorrow, I believe,
very
from
cool.
Turning Point. So
I learned about tomorrow's show from you.
Yeah, there we go.
Thanks, Rachel.
Along with headlines.
Along with headlines. I'm going to get to those right now. A pilot is dead after his plane hit a Florida condo building. The small aircraft flying a banner crashed into the 16th floor of the high-rise before falling into the pool deck below. Witnesses say the low-hanging banner got caught before the crash near Fort Lauderdale Beach. The owner of the banner company says the experienced pilot was a new hire. No one else was injured. Authorities are looking into the cause. A woman is charged with dragging a trooper with her SUV. The trooper was directing traffic when he allegedly approached her when she took off. The trooper was able to free himself after being dragged several feet. He has serious injuries, but he is expected to recover, thank goodness. Delaware State Police are investigating. The U.S. is scrapping large-scale military drills with South Korea that were planned for this spring. The Pentagon set to formally cancel the joint military exercises in the coming days. Officials tell Fox News the decision is a direct result of decreased tensions with North Korea and not the summit in Vietnam. And a World War II veteran receives thousands of cards for his 100th birthday.
Thank you for your service to this great nation. Yeah, you bet. That's beautiful.
Joe Cuba's birthday wish for 100 cards going viral on social media. Workers at Joe's nursing home in Texas say they have a special room for his 30,000 cards from around the world. Wow. And those are your headlines. He only wanted 100. He got 30,000.
Happy birthday, Joe.
We love our veterans in America.
One of those might have come from you, Griff.
I'm going to send him one.
There's no bigger supporter of our military than Griff
Absolutely.
Jenkins. I really mean that. All right, well, do transgender athletes have an unfair advantage in the competitions they take part in? What if they dominate their opponents? We'll ask a transgender person coming up.
And Joe Biden thinks Vice President Mike Pence is a decent guy. What's wrong with that? Well, the left-wing mob comes out swinging. So will they push him out of running? Charles Hurt here to weigh in. He'll tell us.
The fact of the matter is, it was followed on by a guy who's a decent guy, our vice president, who stood before this group of allies and leaders and said, I'm here on behalf of President Trump. And there was dead silence.
Oh, Joe, you can't say that anymore. Former Vice President and possible 2020 contender Joe Biden facing backlash from the left for calling Vice President Pence, quote, a decent guy, later walking back his compliment because of pressure. So does the presumed 2020 frontrunner stand a chance in this new leftist Democratic Party? Here with more is Charlie Hurt, a political opinion editor for the Washington Times and Fox News contributor. Well done at CPAC yesterday as well, Charlie. So I'll ask you that question. Does he have a chance?
I think it's good. It's a tough road for him, actually. But the poor guy. He's been around Washington for 25 years plus. He knows all these people. He's friends with all of these people, and so he's always kind of had diarrhea of the mouth. He just says whatever kind of goes in one ear and out, and so he's he tends to sort of wander into these things. But you're right. This is the great cleanse that we're seeing on the Democratic Party. There's no room, there's no tolerance left for anybody who would say anything like that. And it reminds me, of course, of what we saw, 10 years ago with the Tea Party and the Republican Party. The difference is that the Tea Party was dragging the Republican Party back towards our constitutional principles. Yes. And what's going on now is you've got these crazies inside the Democratic Party dragging the party leftward towards socialism, and there's nothing constitutional or American about any of that.
Boy, that's right. Tea Party was a restoration of values, whereas the left is dragging them into nonsense land. Yeah. But I want to get your take again on the Joe Biden thing a little bit more, because the pressure he got was not from colleagues and folks like that. It was from Hollywood types. Cynthia Nixon, an actress, she tweeted at Joe Biden shortly after those comments. She said, "Joe Biden, you've just called America's most anti-LGBT elected leader a, quote, decent guy. Please consider how this falls on the ears of our community." Of course, then Joe Biden apologized quickly to the actress, saying, "You're right, Cynthia. I was making a point in a foreign policy context that under normal circumstances, a vice president wouldn't be given a silent reaction on the world stage. There's nothing decent about being anti-LGBTQ rights, and that includes the vice president." Can he say nothing?
Yeah, she says jump, he says how high, and the thing that's so sad about this is just them furthering their identity politics business of dividing Americans by whatever, race, creed, gender, all these sorts of things, and then playing politics with it, and it's despicable.
Yeah, you can't call him a decent guy even if you disagree with his political positions. That's been the premise of our country for 240 years. Apparently it's gone.
Has been.
No, that's the scary part of this whole debate. Yeah. Charlie Hurt, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thanks.
Good stuff. Smart guy. All right. Do transgender athletes have an unfair advantage in the competitions they take part in? Also, is the sky blue? What if they dominate their opponents? We'll ask a transgender person next. And a man who beat leukemia achieves his dream of becoming a United States Marine. He joins us to discuss his incredible journey straight ahead.
I can't believe it.
That we just hit the mother load of soft serve ice cream.
I got cones. Anybody wants one?
Oh, yeah.
No, I can't believe how easy it was to save hundreds of dollars on my car insurance with Geico.
We struck sprinkles!
Believe it. Geico could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
As the one who's always trapped beneath the duvet, I'm begging you, take Gas-X. Your tossing and turning isn't restlessness, it's gas. Gas-X relieves pressure, bloating, and discomfort fast, so we can all sleep easier tonight.
CoQ10 is the #1 cardiologist recommended supplement for heart health. I take Cunol CoQ10. Why? Because Cunol has 3 times better absorption than regular CoQ10. Cunol, the better CoQ10.
Absolutely despise cleaning my floors.
For the fastest, easiest clean, try Click and Clean. Click and Clean for streak-free hardwood and laminate. Click on the grout brush and make dirty grout look new again.
To just have one tool to mop and scrub with, it's life-changing.
Click and Clean, better for your floors and your wallet.
I don't want to look like this anymore.
What is happening to my body?
Why can't I lose weight?
You may be suffering from insulin resistance. Measure your waist. Females measuring more than 35 inches and males measuring more than 40 inches may have insulin resistance. To learn how to reverse insulin resistance and lose weight effectively, go online to Golo.com. Once again, that's Golo.com.
Imagine being able to do whatever you want to do, whenever you want to do it. Sandals, more quality inclusions than any other resorts on the planet. Save up to 65%. Call 1-800-SANDALS.
Steve Hilton's one-on-one with Ivanka Trump, taking you inside the White House Workforce Initiative.
These policies are working.
The must-see interview, Sunday on The Next Revolution.
One choice of online sellers. Go to ShipStation.com/try and get 2 months free.
Did you know you can save money by using dish soap to clean grease on more than dishes? Using multiple cleaners on grease can be expensive and sometimes ineffective. For better value, tackle grease with Dawn Ultra. Dawn is for more than just dishes. It provides 3 times more grease cleaning power per drop, which cuts through tough kitchen messes, pre-treats laundry stains, and even tackles grease buildup on car rims. Tackle tough greasy messes around your home and save money with Dawn Ultra. Brand power helping you buy better.
Time now for some quick headlines. Caught on camera, a manhunt underway for this guy setting a vehicle on fire and taking off.
I'm not believing what I'm seeing. What possessed whoever did this to do this? Why?
Family members say they have no idea why the Florida woman was targeted. No one else was injured. In this, a group of suspected thieves are caught celebrating their heist with a pit stop for some late-night breakfast and shopping. Surveillance video here showing the group at a Georgia Waffle House and Walmart. Police are still searching for them, accused of breaking into 8 cars and stealing 2 of them. Rachel?
All right, thank you, Griff. The debate over transgender athletes reigniting as some in the media praise the athletes for their progress in sports. Now, earlier this week, we spoke to high school runner Selena Soleil, who failed to qualify for regionals after 2 transgender athletes took the top 2 spots at the Connecticut State Track Championship. Take a look.
It is unfair to have someone who is biologically a male run with the girls who have not undergone anything in terms of hormone therapy. I missed out on qualifying for further meets and showing off what I can do in front of college coaches and furthering my career in track. Demoralizing when you're at the start line of a race and you know what the outcome of the race is before it even happens.
Joanna Harper is a medical physicist and a transgender athlete who has advised the International Olympic Committee on matters of gender in sport. She joins us now. Welcome, Joanna.
Welcome. Yeah, hi.
So what do you say to Selena, this young athlete who says, look, this just wasn't fair to me?
Well, I think that these 2 transgender girls should have gone on hormone therapy prior to competing at the state level in Connecticut.
So they weren't, are you saying they weren't on therapy?
I don't have their medical records, but probably they weren't.
Yeah, I mean, they certainly didn't look like they had been on for very long. You say that once they get on therapy, that these transgender athletes actually lose the muscle and the body mass that, say, a male athlete would have, and actually are more compatible with female athletes.
More compatible, not exactly the same, but a transgender runner will run approximately 10% slower after a year of hormone therapy.
I mean, the bottom line is, and that's my question to you, is do you think that this competition is fair?
Well, this particular competition was not what I would suggest is optimal. I tend not to use the word fair, but yeah, I think that these girls should have been on hormone therapy before competing at a state level.
So the AP has a quote I want to read you, because there's a growing resentment about this among especially female athletes. Says transgender athletes are breaking barriers in high school, college, and pro sports and being embraced by teammates and fans, but resentments can still flare when transgender women start winning and dominating their sports. So what say you about that?
So there is no evidence that transgender women after hormone therapy will dominate. For instance, the NCAA has allowed hormone therapy trans women to compete for 8 years, and rather than dominating the NCAA, they barely make a dent.
Interesting. Well, we'll see how this develops. It's definitely a very hot button issue, and one that feminists are going to have to step into and talk about, because there's a lot of controversy there. Thank you so much for joining us, Joanna. It's very insightful.
You're welcome.
You got it. As some people celebrate Dr. Seuss's 105th birthday today, others are calling his books racist. Plus, Janice is having coffee with cops in New Jersey. Janice? Hi, Janice. Good morning. We are in Cinnaminson, New Jersey. Coffee with our cops, our men and women in blue, and you are watching Fox and Friends. Stay with us after the break. Woo! Yeah!
Check out the Spring Fishing Classic at Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, where you can see
Orientalism, anti-blackness, and white supremacy in Dr. Seuss. So you're a mean one, Mr. Grinch.
This study out of St. Catherine University or College in Minnesota. Again.
What's going on with your
Again,
state?
Minnesota, get it together. Now, my favorite Dr. Seuss book is Go Dog Go. Do you like my hat? You know, I mean, I've read it, I think, 1,000 times. The book ends, I don't even have to study this. Book ends with them climbing a tree and they have a dog party at the top of the tree.
Okay.
Some of the most offensive lyrics are go by blimp, by boat, by car. Go dogs go. It's not too far. Go dogs go. It's green.
So what's offensive? Because
Blue dogs, red dogs.
I love all of Dr. Seuss's books. I love The Cat in the Hat. I love Green Eggs and Ham. I haven't seen anything racist.
Well, ham, first of all, you got to go vegan. All right? If it's green, it has to be a new deal. So.
You're right. You're absolutely right. But listen,
That's
it's not the only book. I mean, we've seen that Laura Ingalls' Little House on the Prairie, they say, is racist. They're taking Huckleberry Finn out of our school systems now because that's racist. I mean, this is really a purging.
So to answer your question, they point specifically to Horton Hears a Who and the Sneetches and some of the characters out there and say that it plays to setting up what is now viewed in our modern culture as problematic and racist.
It plays to it if you play into it. And the problem is there are actually students at St. Catherine. We should have one on the program tomorrow who are actually taught by these loons who actually believe what they're saying, and then they won't read Dr. Seuss to their kids.
Right.
Because instead they'll read them some politically correct nonsense that
she persisted.
further
That's the new one.
indoctrinates them. So please do Dr. Seuss a favor on his 150. Go buy a bunch of books. A bunch of Dr. Seuss books. Read them to your kids. Everything's going to be fine, people. Everything's gonna be
Another
fine.
example of liberals ruining childhood.
Yes. For the record, PETA has not yet weighed in on the Grinch's mistreatment of that poor little dog in that classic Christmas.
Or the eating of the ham.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, Dr. Seuss, happy birthday. Sylvia, Griff's mom, happy birthday.
That's right. And yeah.
We're going to move
There's so
some
much
headlines.
we could say about this. Send us your emails. You're smarter than we are. Friends@foxnews.com. Your take on Dr. Seuss. Share it with us.
And please rhyme.
And tell us your favorite one, your favorite book.
Please rhyme while doing so.
That's a great idea.
Love it.
All right. Okay, well, we're going to turn to your headlines. I can't rhyme them, but here we go. A daycare worker now behind bars after this horrific video of a 3-year-old thrown against a cabinet. The little girl's head gashed open, needing 7 stitches. Missouri police finding Wilma Brown hiding in a friend's basement closet. Brown was charged with abuse. Good. She no longer works at that daycare. A mother claims she and her baby were kicked off of a flight because of their rare skin condition. Jordan Flake said she was booted from an American Airlines flight in Texas because she didn't have a doctor's note saying it was safe for them to fly. Flake, who was trying to visit her husband before he was getting deployed, told the flight attendant her condition is genetic and is not contagious. The airline has apologized and is looking into the matter. 150 people attending the burial of an Air Force veteran they'd never met. Robert Wunderlich, set to be buried alone after his family received little notice of the service. St. Louis locals stepped up after hearing about Wunderlich on the news. Here we go.
My eyes were watering, you know, it still kind of are, and I was in disbelief that this many people at first would show up.
Wunderlich was part of a community serving homeless veterans. New parents are expecting to lose plenty of sleep while they're caring for their kids. Of course they are.
Jessica, can you get these plates and put them on the table, please? Nora! Nora!
are in over your head, mister.
That was actually footage of my husband Sean when I'm here in New York. But now parents need to prepare for 6 years of sleepless nights. The new study from the UK's University of Warwick shows first-time moms lose about 22 minutes of sleep per night, even when their kids start school. It also says that new dads lose about 14 minutes of sleep per night. Do you think that's pretty accurate, you guys?
What do you think?
Yeah.
I think it's a little more than that. I think that they're undershooting that.
I do.
Sure.
I try letting them cry. Technology, that's good. Try locking your door. Technology. Those are helpful to get more sleep when the house is on fire.
Have a lot of kids, and then it doesn't bother you as much.
So
well, I know who to ask. Our own Janice Dean is speaking to people at the Sweetwater Bar and Grill in Cinnamonson, sorry about that, New Jersey, for Coffee with a Cup. Hey, Janice, how's it going?
It's been going great. This is their first annual, and I want to talk to Officer Mike here because Officer Mike was the first one to say, I want to do Coffee with a Cop. And how did we come up with this idea?
It's a nationwide program that has been implemented throughout the United States. We decided here to try it for the first time here at Sweetwater Bar and Grill, and it's been pretty successful.
What does community mean to you?
Togetherness. You need to be one, united.
Do you want to tell us about other events that you've got coming up?
Sure. We have plenty of other events throughout the community. We have the March 23rd event, which is Battle the Badges. It's the Cinnamonson Fire Department versus the Police Department, a wing eating contest.
Who's going to win?
Hopefully the Police Department.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Did you guys enjoy it today? I love it. Now listen, I want to talk to you, Jess. You moved here from Los Angeles.
Yes.
Why?
We wanted to be with our family, and we just felt like it was a better community for our kids, better values, and this kind of an event really validates that. You know, the officers have been in this town for many years, and they've left and come back, and they raise their families here, and it's just it's a nice feeling to know that we're in such a nice town, a Hallmarkish kind of town.
I love it. And Chaplain John, how long have you been a chaplain for?
We're in our 27th year. I serve a local church, Asbury United Methodist Church. I've officially been chaplain for 2 years, but informally I was kind of in that role since I've been here.
What does community mean to you, Gwen?
This. I mean, we all get together and we all take care of each other. And one important thing is, you know, the police officers take care of us, but we got to remember to take care of them. And we need to pray for them, and we need to be kind to them and help them out when they need it. And I feel really proud that my husband is a chaplain so that he could be there for the officers when they have their difficult times. Because it's very stressful. It's a very, very stressful job.
This is an important job you have, too, to connect everyone. Tell me a favorite Bible verse for you.
Love one another as I have loved you. And of course, those are the words of our Lord and Savior Jesus to us. And the Bible doesn't say talk about one another. It says to love one another.
I love it.
And that's what this event is about, just loving one another.
That's a good way to wrap. Amen. Thank you all for being part of this first annual Coffee with a Cop. I hope you'll have me next year. Thank you so much.
Beautiful.
Back to you guys.
Well done. Well done. All right, thanks, Janice. Well, our next guest giving a message for millennials at CPAC.
What is the most important issue that kind of defines conservatism to you?
I think conservatism mainly is about individualism.
Rob Smith joins us to keep that conversation going.
And a man.
Some quick headlines. Amazon is diving deeper into the grocery business by launching their own chain. The Wall Street Journal reports it'll be separate from their purchase of Whole Foods with lower prices. They expect to open in Los Angeles at the end of the year. And Amazon customers choosing to go green will have to wait longer for packages. The company is offering a new shipping option to cut down on waste by delivering once a week. Starting Tuesday, U.S. Prime members who enroll in the service can select a specific day to receive a week's worth of deliveries.
All right. Turning Point USA took on CPAC 2019 and spoke to millennials about the future of the Republican Party.
First of all, what brings you here to CPAC 2019?
I'm a new conservative. I used to be, about 15 months ago, I was a liberal.
Give me your thoughts right now on some of the Democratic Party stars.
They're definitely, they're running to the left.
What is the most important issue that kind of defines conservatism to you?
I think conservatism mainly is about individualism.
So where is the party headed? Joining us now to continue the conversation is Turning Point USA spokesperson Rob Smith. Rob, I had the honor and pleasure to cover CPAC for many, many years, and it's all about young people. People don't realize that, the young people, but you went there and got the pulse of it. Where, based on these millennials, do you believe things are headed?
Well, you know, there was a lot of very young energy. And for me, what I heard the most from the people that I spoke to, they are really concerned about border security and really concerned about being pro-life. They see the Democrats going further and further to the left on those two issues. So those were the things that came up the most in the people that I spoke to.
And Rob, did you find they identify with President Trump, that somehow President Trump has played a role in this change of opinion?
They did. I talked to people that absolutely loved the president. You have to understand that this was somebody that was already an entertainment superstar before he did become the president of the United States. And a lot of people really connected to that energy. And they thought that he really brings sort of that entertainment industry sort of like pizzazz to the party. They really love him. I talked to a young Latino man that had a Make America Great Again cap on. And he was really all about the president being very forceful when it comes to border security. He realized that, you know, even though we have some people that are crossing that want to come over for a better life, that's great. But people, we need to have a border.
Hey, Rob, did you meet anyone that was maybe liberal leaning that changed their mind?
I did. I met a young black man that had, again, the Make America Great Again cap on, and he is a new conservative. And he said that he came over to the conservative movement because he started talking to some conservatives, and he found that they were able to poke some holes in sort of his liberal-leaning thoughts. And that excited him so much, he wanted to read some books and kind of educate himself a little bit more so that he could come to have a little bit more to play with them. But then he found out that they had better ideas than him and that they knew what they were talking about more. So he's a new conservative.
Now, just very quickly, based on what you saw there, and again, it's important to point out that this is where young people come to hear that opinion, to decide what they feel like. Do you believe in 2020 we may see a stronger turnout of millennials for President Trump? Democrats, of course, saying they're going to have them all.
Yeah, I absolutely think that we will see more millennials come out for President Trump in 2020. You have to understand that he is bringing a new energy into the party. He's bringing a new diversity into the party. He's bringing more excitement into the party. And from what I saw of the young people that I spoke to on the ground, they are excited about the party, they're excited about the movement, and they're excited to show up for the president.
We shall see. Rob Smith hitting CPAC for us, talking to the millennials. Thanks, Rob.
Thanks for having me.
All right, still ahead. He was diagnosed with leukemia at just 11 years old and went through 5 years of chemotherapy. Now he's getting to fulfill his dream as a United States Marine. He joins us with his emotional journey to serve. You do not want to miss this.
As thanks, will you stand by her? Please. Help us stop the killing today.
Welcome back to probably our coolest segment of the morning. A man, an American, who beat leukemia, achieves his dream of serving our country. One of the newest Marines, America's newest Marines, Michael Campfori, is seen here getting emotional after fighting his way through what's called the Crucible, a military test that includes food deprivation and 45 miles of marching at boot camp.
But before conquering this challenge, he won the fight for his life. At just 11 years old, he was diagnosed with leukemia and underwent 5 years of chemo.
That's right. Private Campfori joins us now with more on his inspiring story. Michael, I want to ask you, the video, which was so amazing, it was the first time you were called a U.S. Marine. What was it like?
It was amazing. It was probably, it was the best time in my life. I couldn't tell you there's no feeling other than that.
Had you always wanted to be in the military when you were 11 and facing this terrible challenge of dealing with cancer? Did you think about, I want to one day serve our country in the military?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It's been a dream of mine to be in the military. I've always wanted that discipline and drive of the military.
You know, Michael, I'm an Army guy. I've never been to Marine boot camp, but they tell me it's tough, and I know it is. And they call part of it the crucible, this moment where you get very little sleep, very little food. You're marching mile after mile after mile. Only the best make it through to become a U.S. Marine. You did that, but you went through your own crucible. Talk to us about your journey. What did it take inside you to get all the way to that boot camp?
Yes, sir. It definitely pushes the limits on every aspect, that's for sure. Getting through the mental barriers would have to be the biggest thing for myself, was pushing through when I thought I couldn't. We climbed these ropes at one point, probably about 20, 25 feet in the air, and just pushing myself to the top was pretty tough, considering I don't like heights. And having to work my way back down was another. At the same time, but I couldn't have done it without my family and friends' support.
Michael, I want to ask you one last question, and that is, why do you want to serve our nation?
I didn't hear him.
Why do you want to serve our nation in the Marines?
Why do I want to serve our nation?
Yes.
For all the good things, honestly. It's just as far as doing the right thing. Doing the right thing, I would have to say, is just helping somebody while they're down.
All right. Well, I have one last question for you. You could have joined any branch of the military. Why did you join the Marines and not, say, the Army?
The drive, ma'am. I've never met anybody or any branch of service so tedious and so precise in everything they do. Literally everything they do.
I have two brothers who are Marines. Semper Fi, I get it.
You'll have that haircut for a while. Let me tell you this. We cover a lot of tough stuff on this show, Michael, and these moments like us remind us why America is such a special place. Private Camp Fury, thank you so much.